Let me take you on a journey that might challenge how you view both ancient history and modern-day Iran. What if I told you that Iran, known as Persia in biblical times, plays a key role in God's grand narrative of prophecy? Often, when people think of the Bible, they focus on Israel, Egypt, and Babylon. But Iran, known as Persia in biblical times, was not just another empire. It was a nation specifically named in prophecy to shape the destiny of God's chosen people. Iran's biblical origin story is more fascinating than many realize. From the lineage of Noah to the reign of Cyrus the Great, the history of the Iranians is interwoven with some of the most pivotal moments in biblical history. Yet, the truly shocking revelation is that God used Persia, a nation of pagan kings, to deliver Israel, rebuild the temple, and fulfill prophecies spoken centuries before they came to pass. In this narrative, we'll explore how the Bible reveals the origin of the Iranian people, their rise to power, and their central role in shaping both the Old Testament and prophetic visions of the future. What you're about to learn may change the way you view Iran, not just as a nation of the modern world, but as a key player in God's unfolding plan for the entire world. To understand Iran's biblical roots, we must go back to the story of Noah and his descendants. Iran's origins are deeply rooted in the Bible, beginning with Noah's descendants. Japheth's son Madai gave rise to the Medes, who, together with the Persians, formed the foundation of one of history's most powerful empires, the Medo-Persian Empire, rooted in modern-day Iran. This biblical connection ties the Iranian people to ancient genealogies in Genesis. Centuries later, Persia rose to prominence under Cyrus the Great, who formed the Achaemenid Empire. His conquest of Babylon in 539 BC changed the course of history. God used Cyrus, a foreign king, to deliver Israel from Babylonian captivity and rebuild the temple in Jerusalem, fulfilling the prophecy of Isaiah 44 verse 28, 45 verse 1, the one made more than a century before Cyrus's birth. Cyrus wasn't just a political figure. God called him my shepherd and anointed, titles typically reserved for Israel's kings. Persia, once outside God's covenant, became his chosen instrument to fulfill his promises. Jeremiah had prophesied that Israel's captivity in Babylon would last 70 years. Jeremiah 25 verses 1 to 12 and 29 verse 10. And the rise of Cyrus the Great marked the end of that period. Cyrus didn't just conquer Babylon. He initiated the return of the Israelites to their homeland and authorized the rebuilding of the temple in Jerusalem under Zerubbabel's leadership. God used Persia not only to defeat Israel's oppressors, but to bring about the rebirth of Israel as a nation. This shows that God's plan is far greater than any one empire, and he can use even unlikely figures to fulfill his purposes. Persia's role in biblical history doesn't end with Cyrus. The Book of Esther presents another powerful example during the reign of King Xerxes I Ahasuerus, where God used Queen Esther to protect the Jewish people from annihilation. Haman, an official in Xerxes' court, plotted to exterminate the Jews across the empire. Esther, a Jewish woman who had become queen, intervened after being encouraged by her uncle Mordecai. In one of the most famous moments of the Bible, Mordecai urged Esther to act, saying, "Who knows but that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this?" Esther 4 verse 14. Please don't forget to subscribe, like and share if you are blessed for more contents like this. Esther's courage and God's providence turned the tide, leading to Haman's downfall and a decree that saved the Jewish people. The dramatic deliverance is celebrated annually during the Jewish festival of Purim. Once again, God used Persia not as a bystander but as a vessel for the protection and preservation of his people. Through Cyrus and Esther, Persia became a critical player in God's unfolding plan, helping to ensure Israel's survival, a nation through which the Messiah would come. The Bible not only recounts Persia's historical significance but also places Persia at the center of prophetic visions that reveal God's plans for the rise and fall of world empires. The Book of Daniel provides some of the clearest examples of Persia's future role in God's unfolding timeline. In Daniel 2, King Nebuchadnezzar dreams of a statue representing successive world empires. The silver chest and arms symbolize the Medo-Persian Empire, which would follow Babylon as the dominant power. In Daniel 7, Daniel's vision of 4 beasts includes a bear raised up on one side, representing the dual nature of the Medo-Persian Empire, reflecting the partnership between the Medes and Persians. Daniel 8 further emphasizes Persia's role, where a ram with two horns represents the Medes and Persians, charging in all directions and conquering vast lands. Yet, the vision also foretells Persia's downfall when a goat, symbolizing Greece and its king, Alexander the Great, would defeat the Persian Empire. These prophecies make it clear that Persia's rise and eventual fall were part of God's divine plan. During Persia's reign, God's people were delivered and restored, fulfilling prophecies from Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel. Although the Persian Empire fell to Alexander in the 4th century BC, its influence persisted into the New Testament era. One of the most intriguing connections between Persia and the New Testament is the visit of the Magi in Matthew 2. Many scholars believe these wise men were likely from Persia, possibly Zoroastrian priests who practiced astrology. Their journey to worship the infant Jesus signifies Persia's enduring connection to biblical prophecy, as they recognized the star marking his birth. Persia's cultural and administrative legacy also influenced the world long after its empire fell. The Persian Empire's policy of tolerance toward various cultures and religions created an environment that allowed Judaism to flourish and, later, paved the way for Christianity to spread throughout the Roman Empire. Persia's legacy thus continued to shape the biblical narrative even after the empire's fall, weaving its influence into the fabric of God's ultimate plan for humanity. This environment of religious freedom under Persian rule allowed Jewish communities to flourish, laying the foundation for the eventual spread of the gospel. But Persia's biblical role doesn't end in the past. Looking forward, many scholars believe that modern-day Iran, still referred to as Persia in prophecy, will have a key part to play in end-time events. One of the most notable prophecies is found in Ezekiel 38-39, where Persia is mentioned as part of a coalition that will rise against Israel in the last days. This war of Gog and Magog is seen as a massive, final confrontation between the forces of evil and God's people, with Israel at the center. Persia's inclusion in this prophecy suggests that Iran will continue to hold significant influence, even in the unfolding events of the end times. Daniel's prophecies about the rise and fall of empires, including Persia, underscore God's sovereignty over nations. No empire, no matter how powerful, is beyond his control. Persia's role in both history and prophecy highlights that God uses nations, whether they acknowledge him or not, to accomplish his divine purposes. As we observe modern tensions between Iran and Israel, it's important to see these events as part of a much larger narrative, one that began in the Bible and will culminate in God's final plan. From its historical role in restoring Israel to its prophetic significance in the future, Persia serves as a powerful testament to how God uses even foreign powers to fulfill his promises. As Iran remains influential on the world stage, its connection to the Bible reminds us that history is not just about political events. It reflects God's ongoing narrative for redemption and restoration throughout humanity. God bless you.